tell you, there are things with the EPA. They're after boiler mac. They're doing air quality. They want to have. They don't want our air quality. What we put up in the air here, they wanted it. They're detecting it in New Jersey and New York, and they're going to come back and punish us for burning coal here. I can just go on and on. Greenhouse gases, climate warming change, all these issues we're dealing with. All have one thing in common: to stop this country from using coal. And we have 27 states mine coal. And it's going to decimate them. But in West Virginia, it will crush us. So we're there to fight. I'm a voice using science and engineering, and we're going to fight it. But we're going to make sure that it's done safely. I'm sorry I went long, but that you hit on one of my pet subjects over there. That there are enough people who understood what that was and the impact it has with it. When I look at this guy, that grit and determination in his eyes and his daughter's eyes, I know what my mission is to protect them so they have a future.
The second part of that question was about Obamacare as well.
Well, Obamacare too is listen, there are some components of it that are just fine in Obamacare. The pre-existing conditions, some of those things are fine, but overall though, it's got flaws. And so in the House, we did what we said we were going to do, and we voted to repeal it. And we want to replace it. We have a bill to replace it with. And it will allow, it's in pre-existing conditions. It's going to be able to get insurance across state lines. It has personal accountability for your health benefit, health care. There's a series of things like using mid-level people in medical practice. They're using nurses more than doctors. So things that we can do to reduce costs. So we have an alternative. And we passed it out of the House and sent it over to the Senate. But we made sure that we said it at the same time. There has to be an alternative. We don't want to go back to the way it was. That didn't work. But the Senate killed the bill. So we have to start again. And maybe we'll introduce another piece of legislation and send over to them. But that's the challenge we have. Is we can get anything, virtually anything out of the House. But if we can't pass it out of the Senate, then we haven't done anything. We haven't helped America. We made ourselves feel good by thumping our chest and saying, we got that bill passed. But no, America is still hurting. And whether it's Obamacare or whatever those issues are, we've got to be careful. We've got to find ways that we can talk to each other. Every bill that I've introduced with bipartisan support. Because I know how important it is in the long run. People are tired of the fighting. I see it every day. And I'm trying to reach out to make sure that fighting doesn't have my name associated with it. We're trying to get something done there. Because I'm not over there to have a career. I'm there to get something done. And that means working across it. I'm going to work across it. But if I got to tell you, I'll look at you right now, I'll never compromise on some of my principles of what we're trying to accomplish here. We've said what we were going to do, and we're doing what we said. Yes, sir.
What is or can Congress do to stop Obama signing into effect policy changes by the hundreds each month? We are all seeing these affecting our lives in many ways.
Signing what now?
Just signing into policy changes that yes.
As you can see, we voted 800 times. Most of those bills have died in the Senate. I can't think of more than 3 or 4 bills that have come from the Senate over, other than, and they're okay. They're naming libraries or naming a post office or something like that. That means something to somebody, okay? But that doesn't create a job. It doesn't control our spending. The issues that are really mean something to us in America. So what he's done is he knows that the president is smart enough to know that direct approach to try to get a bill passed, you better be real careful, because if he sends a bill over to increase spending or increase taxes to the House, it doesn't have any life expectancy. We're going to stop it. So what he's using is regulatory bodies. He's using the EPA. He's using OSM. He's using the FDA to pass regulatory requirements. So what we're trying to do, and I'm on a couple of those bills, where we're trying to rein in, it's called the RAIN Act, R-E-I-N. What we're trying to do is something that I did back in the 80s in the legislature. And you benefited from what we used to complain about all the rules and regs in the West Virginia legislature that we never got a chance to see them. They were just enacted, they sent to the governor, but we passed a bill in the West Virginia legislature that said that all rules and regs have to come before the West Virginia legislature for approval. Now, when you're only dealing with $4 billion in a state legislative budget, you're probably going to handle that. But when you're dealing with $2.1 trillion and 50 states and 300 and some million people out there, we know we can't rule on every rule and reg. So what we've established under what's called the RAIN Act, any rule or reg that's to be adopted or passed by one of his agencies, if it has an impact of $100 million or more annually, it has to come before Congress for approval. I want to engage the people across this country before something's bad. Let's have someone being held accountable. So it's just not something the president wants to do that we have to tolerate for 4 years. I think we need the input of people to be able to find out whether or not that's what they want. So we're pushing for that. They have the rules and regs brought before under the RAIN Act. And again, we passed it out of the House and it died in the Senate. So there's a common theme there, isn't there? That can be taken care of in a couple of years.